Cindy, thank you. Questions, comments? Yes.
Senator Portman, some of your Democratic colleagues aren't necessarily opposed to lifting Title 42, rather lifting it without a plan. Now that there has been a plan released by Secretary Mayorkas yesterday, are you worried that some of your colleagues across the aisle are going to switch over their sides? Have you had any conversations with them? What are you hearing?
No, it's a great question. I have not heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised. The problem is it's not really a plan. And, you know, we looked at it carefully yesterday. We had a briefing on it. And primarily what it does is it expedites the immigration process. As an example, instead of having processing at the border, there would be processing on the bus or other means of transportation going further into the interior to take pressure off the border. As an example, there would be more people hired to process people more quickly, but nothing with regard to slowing the flow. So it's not a plan that deals with this crisis, which is getting, of course, far worse if Title 42 is removed, in that about 50% of the people were turned away. So this line would have been up here if 42 had not been in place. And so I mean, that's the decision I guess my colleagues are going to have to make on the other side of the aisle. I think 11 members have said they have some concerns with revoking Title 42 at this point. The other point I would make is this is not about Title 42. Ultimately, that's going to go away. At some point, COVID will be behind us. We won't have a public health emergency. We'll be left with a policy that doesn't work. And we know what works because here, as you can see, we had effective control of the border by putting in place some sensible policies. The asylum policy changes that Senator Capito and others talked about is one thing we have to do that actually was not done during the last administration that would even lower those numbers further, which is to say immediate adjudication. If somebody doesn't qualify, they'd be sent home. And that 85% of the people who are applying from Mexico or Central America or other places are in the end not being granted asylum, and yet they're in the United States for 6 to 8 years and embedded in the communities and so on. So we know it works, and that's the kind of policy we're looking for.